So I wanted to give you some of my thoughts on commissioning and relationships. Just for a little bit of context, I've been asked for advice from a few friends in the last few weeks or so, and they keep asking me, how much should they charge? How much should I negotiate? What if they say no? And I just wanted to address what I do and reveal what I charge and why, and when I don't charge and why. By the way, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. 85% of the people watching my videos are not subscribed currently, and it only takes 2 seconds and is entirely free. It's right there. To start, if you're getting commissioned just as a token identity driver, honestly, I'm just going to give you the advice to milk it for all it's worth. It might sound like it's a strange thing to say, as of course we want to assume that we are getting hired for how great our music is, but in the world of programming, particularly for ensembles and performers that don't do a ton of new music, if they're playing 3 to 4 pieces by dead white German men, they probably feel the need to add a token. Now I know I hear the people with 6-month waiting lists rolling their eyes, but hear me out here. If you don't have other commissions and nobody else wants to hire you, then charge them for wanting to hire you for your identity. And then use that on your bio that you got commissioned by so-and-so ensemble, and now you have a reputation for getting other commissions at an actual fair rate. And better, by charging them much more than what you think that you think you're worth, it justifies that rate to the ensembles that maybe have less problematic reasons for wanting to commission you, because your music actually is great. This happened to me recently. I got asked by 6 different people in 1 week to write pieces for this conference that had an LGBT theme, because I was the only gay composer they knew. That doesn't feel great, but at the same time, 6 different people asked me and wanted to pay me, so I charged them for it. Now, as far as rates go, the short answer, I generally charge approximately $100 per minute of music. That is what I tell most potential commissioners. Do I think I deserve more than that? Probably, but here's the deal. When I get asked for a commission and they ask me for my rates, from a sales perspective, tipping your hand early when you aren't someone with a 6-month plus docket of commissions, your rate should effectively be what is the most amount you can get paid without the commissioner walking. I know this seems a little cynical, but I've had it happen multiple times. For instance, last year I got asked to write this huge project for 5 musicians that would be multimedia, be like 20 to 30 minutes of music. I knew this person, and I knew that they didn't have the money that I thought I should get paid for this. I really loved the idea though, and they were promising me lots of performances, and I'm thinking, okay, ASCAP royalties for a long piece, so I quoted her $3,000. To younger folks, that might seem high, but for someone who knows, that amount for this length and complexity of the project is actually really quite low. I could tell immediately that this number was much higher than they were expecting, and I told them that I was happy to negotiate. Again, really loved the idea for this project and was super down to find a way to make it work. I even offered to help with some of the fundraising, grant writing, etc. They said they would think about it, and heard back a month later saying that they decided to go in a completely different direction because they found someone to do it for about $500. Now I hear some of you saying you dodged a bullet there, but quite frankly, we're still artists and you should be excited about the projects that you want to do. So just do that. So this leads me to my next point. I didn't get my first paid commission until I finished my master's at NYU. It was with the group The Rogue Trio with my good friend Justin Rollefson. I'll link the CD he recorded below as well to his Twitch stream. I charged $750 for the project. I had no clue what to charge, but I used the New Music USA calculator and then took a large fraction off of that. It was such a great experience, though, that Justin asked me to write another piece 2 years later for his group, the Lotus Trio, also recorded on the same CD. We came up with the idea, we had the whole commissioning agreement project process. I asked for the same amount, and he told me that they didn't have any money at that moment. I will say that I politely declined because at the time I thought I was this hot shit. I had 4 commissions on my lineup at the time and had just started a job, so declining seemed appropriate. Well, the next day, that massive shooting at Mandalay Bay occurred. A few background notes. My grandparents, who had both passed away the last year, lived in Las Vegas for about 40 to 50 years. I used to go to Vegas regularly, had been to Mandalay Bay a few times, so it was one of the first times that one of these shootings felt really real. To add another layer, my little sister was supposed to be at that concert, and without going into my personal family drama, we were on the outs at the time. This tragedy really pissed me off, and so I wrote a piece for Justin because he was the last person I talked to, and I trusted him with it. And then they ended up recording it on putting it on their album. They played it 9 to 10 times at the North American Saxophone Alliance conference, which was really great for me. So at NASA, when they played it, they then approached me again because they had this opportunity to compete for the M Prize with a very large and ambitious prize. I told them that I would be happy to write them something to fill out their program, but would definitely need to be paid for this project. They understood, and so we set up a thing where I would get paid $500 up front, and if they won, I'd get more. Unfortunately, they didn't win. That happens, but they did play this piece another 6 or 7 times, and I have a really wonderful relationship with all the members of the ensemble, Justin, in particular, just because of how many times I worked with him. So the moral of these stories, I would hesitate to give anyone the advice to ever turn down a commissioning opportunity just because the money isn't high enough. Sometimes it's just a call me later, or if you're young and commissions aren't your livelihood yet, ask yourself the question, will this collaboration get me ahead somehow? But again, what if they say no? Rejection happens. I try to find a way to make it so a no is unlikely by saying this number is just a starting point, but it in no way needs to be if you think it isn't feasible. Now, this seems to be not what they teach you in any sales training. When I took sales training, that's not what they taught me, because you want to get the highest possible price, right? Well, commissions, particularly when you're first starting out, is much more challenging because you're asking money from other musicians who also don't have any money. So this leads me to my next point. Relationships are literally the most valuable currency. My friends over at Fifth House love to say your network is your greatest currency. It's so true. But here's the big but. Never start a collaborative relationship with someone because they will get you ahead or because of money. These relationships are just not that fulfilling and generally will not lead to more. We are all people, and the biggest moneymakers that I've ever had are from some of my best friends who I've written, who have only ultimately gotten me bigger projects. These are people I worked with because we were friends. I didn't go into the friendship thinking, OMG, yay, someone to pay me. I went into it because this person is really freaking awesome and I really enjoy spending time with them. Then one day I say, hey, Jeffrey Lung, I really want to work with you and I really want to write you this piece. What do you think? Of course he said yes, because our friendship was never about the money or the relationship of collaboration. We just were friends. I didn't get paid because I approached him and I thought that was rude and I was more excited about him than I was about the money. Then when that project premiered at another NASA conference, because yes, I read a lot of saxophone music, I got approached by a ton of people that now want to work with me. That's what we want. So I don't want to go on too much longer, but a closing thought. If you're currently in school and don't have any paid commissions, do not feel like you are a failure. You shouldn't be charging your fellow students to play your music. This is, of course, has exceptions. If you have a list of people wanting to work with you and wanting to pay you, not working with your fellow students in this capacity can be a way of maintaining your own mental health and sanity. That said, the relationships you form with your fellow students are some of the most valuable relationships you will ever form. They are the ones who will commission you in the future. They are the ones that will suggest you to their random friends at some point in the future. So I hope this video was helpful. If you liked it, please consider subscribing and sharing. If you want to see more and see me talk more about stuff like this, comment below with what you'd like my thoughts on. Remember, relationships are way more important than commissions and networking. And networking doesn't have to be a dirty word. It just should be making relationships with people in a professional capacity.